trying to sit here while I heard you thinking about it, and I don't remember. I think maybe 3 times. I don't know. How about you as a tourist? Either one of y'all as a tourist?
My grandmother had a great love of Disneyland, and every year, once a summer, we went. And one year, I went with my great grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and my grandfather, and my siblings, and it was a full day. And Disneyland had a series of tickets. It wasn't a flat rate process. You bought your tickets. You paid one price to come in, but then you also paid a price for your rides. And the e-tickets were the really good ones. Those were the good rides. And those, of course, those little ticket stubs went first. And then the ones that were not as exciting were the A tickets. And my family always saved the tickets from one year to the next year. And when you got there, there was a whole explanation. If you had a ticket from this year, it started out as a C ticket, but this year it was only worth a B ticket. And I think they must have just gotten fed up with the whole process of people showing up with old tickets and just said, if you want to come in, it's just one price. And that's the way it is today. But yes, once a year I went there. And my best memory is that I went there with my grandparents, and it was the year that Rich was working there. We hadn't met, and I spent the whole day thinking, I'm supposed to meet somebody that I know. The whole day, it was after a while, I was kind of like, well, this is just ridiculous. But I spent the whole day thinking, oh, this is the day that I meet somebody that I know. And I always thought it was funny when later I found out that Rich was working there, of course, that summer when I went as a teenager and visited.
Wow. Well, it always meant a lot to me, and it's odd that I took my children to Six Flags in Dallas and Atlanta and in Great Lakes. I don't know if we went to Rochester, New York, if they have something around, but that's Six Flags. That's a different franchise, but I guess they got their idea. I don't know. I haven't researched it, but I love amusement parks.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. Six Flags is known for their roller coasters, as having the best roller coasters, right?
Yeah, they have the monster roller coasters and all that.
Is that Knott's Berry's farm? Knott's Berry?
Knott's Berry Farm has good roller coasters too, but Six Flags Magic Mountain is the king of the roller coasters, the absolute king of the roller coasters.
Okay, Six Flags. Which one did you go to?
There's one in Valencia, California. Yeah, so I guess...
TJ, have you been to Knott's Berry Farm?
No, I had an office in California for 5 years, downtown at the California Mart, I guess. I think I always called it the LA Mart, but that's with the furniture. I still haven't looked that up to get it straight. But for 5 years I came and went, but I was always at work, running a big company. Or was it, let's see, 89 to 94, roughly 5 years. So I didn't get to go to, I know we meant to a couple of times, but what would happen is after work and we'd be so exhausted, me and my vice president or whatever, we just thought, well, we'll go, but we never did. So, and then my kids, I had a couple of kids come over and get in a movie. Angela and Gigi got into Witchcraft 3. It just happened to be the one that they were filming. I don't even know how I got it. It was Blockbuster and producers in Hollywood. They had me come to one of those meetings. I was a psychic, too, so I had some really strange days in California. So I didn't get to go to Knott's Berry Farm, but I know that it's not as big as Disneyland, though, right?
No, it's not as expensive either. It's California's #1 amusement park. So I looked up on my phone, and California Mart is the one for clothing, and LA Mart is the one for home furnishings. So
California Mart then is where I had my office.
Right, and that's a strange part of downtown LA. So
yeah, it is. I saw a shooting in the day. I did. I mean, people drive by, and I'm in a Cadillac too, at a coming up on a drive-by shooting, boom, boom, with guns hanging out, and my poor little Japanese vice president was freaking out, and I was I just taking it like, I guess this is just L.A. I don't know, but I just sat there and watched it happen. It was like, I looked to see if there was some movie, like some of those booms and on the set, type of filming. I thought, well, maybe I said, no, we're not on I don't see anybody filming. That was real. Cars driving by with guns hanging out going boom, boom, boom. I was like, wow. But you're right. It was quite interesting downtown. And that was 89 to 94. I already said that, didn't I?
That's a different time. But, I always tell people it's not so unusual that I work as a psychic in California. It's unusual that I figured out how to make a living at it. In California, there's a lot of there's a whole movement here in California. So it's not that unusual. It's kind of like part of life. Everybody in California has somebody that they've used or their family has used for a consultation, whether it was astrology or it was getting a reading or planning a date for a wedding. But those are, it's more accepted, I think, in California, Southern California in particular. Northern California is very accepting of psychics, but they're a little bit more quiet about it. They're just a little bit more, they say it's a difference of, Northern California has, I never can remember if it's yin. One is the female side and one is the male side of the energy, of the Tao energy, but I don't know.
Well, so can we talk about that on your show tonight? Because, go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, go.
Let me ask a question. How would someone go and find a reputable psychic? Because in California, we have all the psychics that have the hands in the window for a $10 palm reading. So how does someone go about finding a reputable psychic?
That's a good question. So Dick Sutphin, who was really kind of in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, he's still working. He's in Sedona, and he worked a lot in Hawaii during the 80s and 90s. He said that you never go to a red palm reader, and it's funny because one of my web pages has like that symbol on it. But on the storefronts, on the boulevard, there are a neon light that has a red light in it, and that's a different. That's not like going to a psychic. That's a different type of. That's a different type of work. So finding a reputable psychic is an interesting process. I think the best thing to do is to find somebody who goes to psychics and ask them. There's this woman friend I have, and her name is Sharon, and she really loves psychics. Ronald Reagan's psychic was living in Malibu, and she was doing psychic readings, and this was in the 80s. And believe it or not, she only charged $50 for a reading. There was no time frame on it. You went to her, you paid her your $50, and you got your reading. And she was probably one of the top California psychics at one point. Sylvester Stallone, Sylvia Brown, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Carolyn Mays, all of these people have worked as psychics, and they started out before they became well-known and well-published. They all started out in California. So California, we also have the Manly P. Hall Center where you can learn tarot card reading, among other things. But there's centers here. I think there's probably more centers for learning how to become a psychic. But I think the best thing is to find somebody who you like and ask them if they had used a psychic and who would they recommend. And I can't tell you how many people I've met that met me at a party, and that's just how they got introduced to doing it. And that, I think that's kind of a great thing, because if you can meet somebody and get a reading that's 3 to 5 minutes, you kind of get an idea if you want more information. So I don't actually have talking to your friends and family members that have gone to psychics. That's the best way.
That's what I always was told. That I'd say, "How did you hear about me?" And they'd say, "A friend told me." At least while I was doing it in Kentucky. Now in Hawaii, I had a big spiritual community, so we all got to meet each other. And then we had one of my girlfriends had a big thing with these little bungalow-looking chairs in Hawaii, a strip in Waikiki, where all the tourists came, and they made money off of the tourists that came in there. And, of course, I was studying, but And I think when I was in Houston, you had to go to a bookstore. And then when I was in Hawaii, I worked at 3 different bookstores, even though I was still a president of a company and I was still in the Navy. I don't know how I got around to doing everything I did. It amazes me now because I'm old now. I'm a very old soul in a young 68-year-old body.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, bookstores were very popular for a long time, but truthfully, I think a lot of the people that are now today, I mean, Venice Boardwalk always had psychics working on it, and that's kind of it's right by Muscle Beach, and I think it's something entirely different. I think in 1982, I didn't go down there to work, but I used to go down there, and it was just a place to come and hang out. And you could take and be a psychic and set up a card table, and you could go down there and you could do readings. You put a little cardboard sign in front of it, and it said $20. Thank God I never had to do anything like that. But generally speaking, psychics that are, hardworking and talented, they're able to work out of their homes. So, yeah, there is kind of an interesting pecking order to, I call them kitchen psychics. There's kitchen psychics in California. And these are psychics that work out of their home, and they're good psychics, but they just, it's an extension of their kitchen work, and they take and they help people. So, yeah, there's a whole culture of that, and then there's people that work a circuit, and those are people that work, different bookstores and different psychic fairs. That's another category of psychics. And then I'm trying to think of the other categories that happen. But, yeah, most of the psychics, very few. I think today very few psychics can afford to keep a separate place rented in California and work as a psychic. Most people are working out of their homes. That's just the way that one goes. It's weird, huh?
Yeah, I've got one here just a block down from me on the main. There's only a main street here through Gulf Breeze, and she's got a little house with I think the palm sign up there in it, like you said, the red palm. But I've never met her. But when I set up my Google business for psychic ascension psychic, I started getting a lot of calls. They'd always ask me if I knew her or knew about her because they could see us on the map together. And I thought, well, wow, this new industry with phones, people can see where you are if they want to come to your house. But we're all in virtual reality now. So I guess, Rich and you both. I don't know, Rich, I've got up here, but now I can't see it because my computer, since I told you guys I direct called in, I don't think I'll do that in the future. I think I'll go back to my old way of calling in and getting direct line because I've lost the control of my computer and it's gone dark. So, and I can't control it because I'll knock us off. So I've just got to let it sit here and do its thing in the dark. First of all, it was like something was messing with my thing. But calling in direct out there in cyberspace, everything's in the cloud now, folks, pretty much, even in our files. So, I don't know, psychics, we always called that the Akashic field. So, in a way, it's like a lot of the real psychics had a direct connection to the library, especially Sylvia Brown, if you remember her writings.
Right.
But I wanted to talk to you guys last night about the Love and Light community. And I know I'm going to talk about it tomorrow on Sunday with that new gentleman, James Tolley, coming on. But what do you guys, with the Love and Light community coming out in the 70s and 80s, you can look it up. I can't do anything with this computer right now, but you want to help me on that? And there was 70s and 80s. It was, and it's on Wikipedia too, Rich, if you want to look at it. We don't like to use the word New Age, right, anymore, but
well, I don't know. Spiritual renaissance happened in Santa Monica, California, and it happened in Santa Monica, California, and there were the greats were there: Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, Louise Hay. She got started there with when the AIDS epidemic. There was no treatment, and she was offering an affirmation on Wednesday nights. Marianne Williamson was at the Unitarian Church on 18th in Arizona, and Barbara